been a tough few days for the president in the polls.
Yeah, John Berman, I would say this is probably the worst 10-day period for the president in the polls, his entire second term.
That's a shame. But anyway, there is far more to it than just bad polls. They're really bad. They're also specifically bad amongst one demographic that we'll turn to in a bit. But first, here is Harry Enten to explain.
I would say this is probably the worst 10-day period for the president in the polls, his entire second term. The numbers are just atrocious. What are we talking about here in terms of net approval rating? Well, take a look. These are all November polls. The best one of the group puts him at 14 points underwater. That's the Marquette University Law School poll, tied for the worst he's ever had in that poll. Fox, 17 points underwater. Marist, 17 points underwater. The Reuters Ipsos poll, 22 points underwater. And then taking the cake, the AP North poll, 26 points underwater. When your best poll has you still 14 points underwater, you know it's truly bad, and it's as bad as 26 points underwater. We're talking about an average well underwater with the deep blue sea, swimming with the fishes.
He knows how to paint a picture with words, does Harry Enten. But anyway, we'll turn to the demographic I was talking about, specifically the problems Trump is having with independents. But overall, this is now his worst polling ever so far this year. And we know that in certain issue categories, like on the economy, he's at the worst he's been through both of his terms, Cenk. What are your 2 cents?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious, and I've been saying, well, it's not obvious because other people didn't say it, but I've been saying it for now a month or so. Why? Especially in the last month, the mass deportations look ugly. People don't like it. All the independent shows turned against it. Most importantly, the affordability. He hasn't helped it at all, and he seems to have ignored it. The Epstein files did massive damage, right? Massive, because it wasn't just about Epstein. It was that Trump lost the veneer of being a populist, and instead he became another establishment elitist working against the people, and that perception has hurt him more than anything else. But as we suspected, the bottom has dropped out on a couple of demographics: the young, the independents, and Latinos.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more where that came from.
Yeah, Latinos, black voters as well, very low. And what I love about all of this is, like, I guess maybe the 3 biggest things are affordability, the Epstein files, and the mass deportations. There's a few other issues too, but those top 3, it's like you can be a president and just something terrible happens and people turn against your presidency. I love that these are 3 massive own goals. He started most of these. He made it worse for himself, and I love that for him. But anyway, let's turn to the independents and what they think about Trump.
Why don't we take a look at independents, Trump's net approval rating with independents? Back in January, he was close to even. He was at -4 points. Not great, but not terrible. Look at this number, 43 points underwater with independents in the most recent average of these polls. When you have 43 points underwater with independents, you know you're doing terribly. You can't win with this. If this holds for next year's midterm election, wave adios amigos, goodbye, see you later to that House Republican majority and that Senate Republican majority very much in danger as well.
If you think you know how he's gonna end a segment, you don't. You don't. But anyway, yeah, so that's an amazing turn amongst independents. And I think it represents what I think a lot of people maybe suspected right after the election, certainly came to suspect, which is Donald Trump being reelected was not that Donald Trump is such an enduring political figure and it's just such a strong brand. It's people felt desperate, and so they were like, okay, I guess we'll try this. And they gave him a month, they gave him 3 months, they gave him 6 months. And then they realized, oh no, this is actually an absolute disaster. I was never really on board with this. I was just desperate to get prices down. He's not doing that, I'm done with him. And so independents, who are by their very nature not gonna be as closely attached to Donald Trump as the other voters, I think they have fled him faster than I think we've ever seen a president lose a base of support.
Yeah, so let me try to explain it. What I think is happening, and I'm gonna give you numbers on the Latinos and young people as well. So first off, there's a reason why his numbers held steady for quite some time. So as people were seeing it a month ago, go, no, well, Cenk, it's still holding steady, right? I was like, I know, that's a picture in time, but the underlying stuff is terrible. And by the way, same thing we said about Biden. Before his numbers collapsed, I said, yeah, but the underlying trends are disastrous for Biden. So same thing here. So what are the underlying trends? So first of all, with independents, in the beginning, he closed the border. Independents love that, right? And so and young people and a lot of folks liked that he did that. He, at that point, he still has the veneer of populism, as I explained earlier. And guys, what was propping him up was the deep unpopularity of the Democratic Party, down at 28, 29% approval. So they're like, what choice do we have? And we just voted for this guy. And presidents are always more popular at the beginning of their terms. Barack Obama, after inauguration, right around that January number they showed for Trump, he was at an 83% approval rating. In 2009, insane. 83%, right? So to your point, John, whether it's Obama or Trump, you're going to get a big bump up for, hey, you're new, at least this time around. Go get him, Tiger. Let's see what you got, right? So now we've seen what he's got, and they don't like it. So so he closed the border, fine, good. Got rid of illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants who are criminals, fine. American people like that, and some people on our side objecting. I'm like, guys, it's a losing battle. They're very popular, right? Okay, so that happened, and then of course he couldn't help himself. And honestly, the radical right does want it, right? So he's like, okay, mass deportation, no badges. Let's go snatch up women and kids and grandparents, etc. And the average American's like horrified by it, right? What is this? This isn't America. And then you're gonna roll in military into the streets. I'm like, that's not gonna play well. And MAGA's like, no way, man. Americans love military in the streets. Do they? Have you spoken to them? Maybe you guys do, right? But the great majority of Americans did not like that at all, okay? Tim Dillon, Joe Rogan, etc. They all turned on it, and they're just representative of the independents. So, but the Epstein one was the biggest one because it shows he's a fraud. That was a mask off moment, right? So then that's it, the independents are gone. Because the independents are looking for someone honest, authentic, representing the people. They don't give a damn about if you call yourself a Democrat or Republican. They kind of hate both of those parties. And they thought maybe Trump was an independent. Robert Kennedy Jr., he's against the establishment. And when he comes in and does the same old Epstein trick, same old Israel first, starts wars, we're gonna go to war with Venezuela. The independents are very anti-war. They're like, sayonara, as Enten said. Gone, okay? So, all right, so that's the independents. Now, Latinos, I'm like, I don't get it. The bottom's gonna fall out because the polling was showing that the bottom had not fallen out. Because I'm like, every Latino I talked to went from like, some already hated Trump, some were open to Trump, some voted for Trump. Now when you talk to them, they're like, well, hate him, despise him. Why? Because they're like, oh, you guys were right? We said, no, they don't mean just undocumented immigrants. They don't mean just criminals. They mean Latinos. And a lot of them were like, no, you guys are always talking about race and stuff like that. Now they're like, oh yeah, they meant Latinos. That's definitely what they meant. And they're hassling all of us. We're citizens, they're hassling us, right? And so, bye-bye to that. Oh, by the way, what are the numbers? Trump during election was only -2 with Latinos, which is an excellent number for a Republican, okay? Now he's at -38. He lost 40 points with Latinos. But young people are in the same camp as independents. And there he was +8 because of all the social media, online media, etc. And he went and did all those interviews and Kamala Harris did. He was +8 in February. Now -55.
Jeez.
As Harry Enten would say, down, down.
He's swimming with the fishes.
So that's 63 points he lost with young voters. 40 points he lost with Latinos. And then what do we have with independents there? Low end from 4 to 48, 44 point loss there. Those are not little numbers. Those are catastrophic numbers. So as I was telling you, Biden couldn't possibly win with an approval rating in the 30s. Now Trump is there and in a nosedive. So this is gonna get worse before it gets better for Trump.
And that's why I've been talking about how lame duckish this is all felt. And it's why I think the Republicans are feeling a little bit emboldened to stand up to him at least a little bit. Because like it's one thing to just have your lips pressed to the ground at his feet for your entire career if that's how you get reelected. But if he's gonna doom your reelection, well, what's the point? You gotta put some distance between yourself and him. That's Marjorie Greene, is sort of the harbinger of that. And all this big substantive stuff that we've been talking about is happening. And amongst all of it, and these are far smaller things, I don't think any of them matter except in accumulation, but they just all seem so elitist and disconnected from what people are really experiencing. That like, it's just constantly, we're gonna rename a Gulf. Yeah, we want the Department of War. We're gonna build a ballroom. Here's my new bathroom. It's like people are suffering. And look, I think foreign policy is very important. I think presidents need to be able to concentrate on what's happening here in the United States and abroad. But there have been presidencies that really seem as if they are focusing way too much on stuff that's happening outside of our borders. And Trump is getting that perception as well. And not necessarily like doing all that focusing and then getting results. Like he's had all those meetings about like Ukraine and Russia. What has that actually brought? Like we had an extra war with Iran, devastation in Gaza. What's the benefit to us of all of the time wasted? And then on top of it, when you barely glance at us, you pay attention to us for a second, it's to put massive tariffs on the things that we need to buy, artificially making the situation with affordability even worse than it already was. It's just a perfect storm. And he's hitting all these groups that he needed to get elected, and then he's gone on a warpath against senior citizens who are already worried about the cost of their health care, and he's decided, nah, screw them, the ACA subsidies can go away. And also, I don't know if you know, but a lot of elderly people on SNAP, and he's like, screw them, they don't get to eat. I don't want them to get checks. And they see that stuff. They see that he's turned against them.
Yeah, you know
so
what?
Anyway.
Yeah, last thing on this. So in the midst of this, since they hit the iceberg, now I want to go to Benny Johnson.
Yeah.
Because so he's a right-wing influencer. So he thinks, no, I got this. We're gonna throw a bag of squirrels at the American people, and I bet they believe it. So let's take a look.
What happens if we lose is that the 40 million, 30 million, 80 million criminal aliens will immediately be given naturalization by Democrats instantly. That's what will happen. And then they will all, a lot of them vote anyway, then they will all vote. And that'll end the republic as we know it. So that's what's at stake. And it's worth talking about. Your life is made better by mass deportations. Every single thing you hate about your life right now or American culture is caused by mass immigration and criminal immigration. And it could be fixed by mass deportations.
It's comical.
Okay, so a couple of things there. So there's now apparently 80 million undocumented immigrants.
Or 30 million, or 7, or a billion.
Right.
Who's to say? I mean,
because we're just making up numbers. Like, have I seen 12 million? Yeah. Have I seen 14 million? I think that's the upper reach of the numbers that I've seen. 80? Okay, because like you said, as long as we're making up numbers, why not make it 350? We're all undocumented immigrants, okay? So just totally wild, crazy stuff there. Secondly, they've been saying this for a long time, the right-wing media guys. They're gonna naturalize them, they're all gonna vote. But they didn't want to do that when they had a neck-and-neck elections with Trump. No, let's save it until after we lose.
Twice to Trump.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knew, even if you thought Kamala was gonna win, that she was gonna win by the skin of her teeth, right? Yeah. So wouldn't that be the time for the instant naturalization? Wouldn't it be time when the Democrats held the House, the Senate, and the White House as they did in the first 2 years of Biden? No, it's just like Alex Jones' FEMA camps. Yeah. Obama's gonna put you in FEMA camps. You're all gonna be in FEMA. Alex, what happened to the FEMA camps, right? So it's nonsense. Why? Well, that's the last thing he said, gives you the why. He's like, every problem you have, it's not because of the donor class that wants higher housing prices because private equity is buying up all the houses. It's not big pharma who's driving up drug prices because they totally control Congress. It's not Israel, it's not any of these guys. The military industrial complex, no way. They're totally innocent. Everyone that has enormous power and wealth, they never use it. For their own benefit, no. They only help the masses. They do it for charity. But the guys with no money or power, the undocumented immigrants, if they had money and power, why are they crossing the Rio Grande? Like okay, so they come in with $0. That's the real problem. Squirrels, everybody, squirrels. Don't look up to whatever you do. Don't look up. That's my donor. Look down. The guy with $0, he has all the power.
Yeah.
Does he, Benny?
It's the exact same thing I was talking about, Pasabiak or whatever in the first part. This is why guys like that have careers. So that people don't pay attention to the class issues, the structural issues, the way that our politicians have been bought, and instead it's a brown person, there's a black person over there, and he's less talented than even the others, so he does it in an even more like cartoonish way, like literally just saying everything you don't like about your life is due to immigrants. Come on, I noticed earlier today I have like a hole in my jacket, and at first I was like, damn it, that's probably my fault. I probably stretched wrong. Nope, it's Guatemalans. Buttermom's with my sleeve. I think Benny Johnson's onto something. It's just so comical. Also, his need to have his cake and eat it too. It's like they're gonna naturalize them so they can vote. Oh wait, we say that they already vote. Well, they already vote, but they'll double vote. They'll double vote after they get naturalized. And I bet the Democrats are gonna naturalize them all after they take away all your guns, which we've been saying for decades they're gonna do.
Yet no gun
so
appears to have been taken away.
Yeah.
But okay.
Keep forgetting.
So, but look, first mainstream media got caught. I think what's gonna happen next is that a lot of the liars in online media are gonna start to get caught by their own base. It happened to Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro was like, oh, Israel. So who cares about America? And the rich are great. And so this Benny Johnson thing of, it's all the poor people and immigrants that are the problem. Black people have all the power in this country, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Culture wars, trans people. And then eventually his audience was like, wait, why do we have to support Israel over America? That doesn't seem right. Like I heard from someone else that we don't have to support Israel and that special ally is not a magic word, right? Phrase. And so now Ben has lost a huge chunk of his audience. I think it's gonna happen on non-Israel issues where people go, Benny, you really think all of my problems, including drug prices, are because of undocumented immigrants? Like, okay, I don't like undocumented immigrants, his right-wing audience might say, but all my problems?
Yeah.
Now I'm beginning to wonder if you're lying to me and why you're lying to me.
Yeah,
right?
And who's paying you to lie to me?
Yeah, and I mean, Daily Wire 101.
Well, in that case, we know who's paid him to lie in the past.
Yeah, well, because if you don't know, real quick, last thing, Daily Wire got started as an example. One of the folks who gave them money were fracking billionaires. So that's why they're always talking against climate change, because they're literally paid to speak against climate change. Oh, climate change is no big deal. It's just a hoax. Fracking's great. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Did I do good? Did I have more money? Great.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Yeah.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.